Okay, that's not how you
We're
connect with
DM.
your fan base.
All
That's not how
right.
you build. That's not how you build a brand,
Yeah,
bro.
that's not how you build a brand.
So we're back. We're back, and we return to the adventure with Virgil, Eulogy, Ulfgar, Oleander, and Shibello. Shibello is indisposed for the time being, so he may join sometime shortly. But we'll set him aside for the start here. And
Shibello's off eating meat.
all right, so quick recap. You all were sort of have been dealing actively with a I guess what you might call a haunting, if that's what you want to call it. Some sort of dark spirit creature, ominous spirit creature that you fought in the Verdurn forest north of Sonatron. Has seemed to follow you all back to the city as you brought the body of Vilry along with you, and since you returned, it has become apparent that that threat you encountered has rejuvenated itself, and its threat continues. It has already murdered at least initially one person that you found. You all scrambled to secure the town and its citizenry. With Perry Hemsoth, a valiant yet still novice member of the Sonatron Town Militia. She sort of took off on horseback to the northern farms to alert folk in the outskirts of town of the threat, to sort of gather people and have them head into the town center. But she never returned, and learning that she had not returned, you all set out after her in order to ensure that she was safe, that she hadn't encountered any harm as she was about that noble task. And you all since found her dead horse in the fields of the Pontius Farm, a farmstead associated with at least one of the individuals, Baria Pontius, suspected of having cavorted with the mob responsible for murdering Silwith Eldara, the mother of Vilry. And while you guys were at the farm, you found a few bodies. The bodies, first, the body of Yali Pontius, the young girl, lying white, ashen-faced and sort of face up on her back in the pouring rain, her eyes wide open in sort of a horrified look. You found the bloody body of a man who you later learned is named Gerardo Casca, and the bodies of two women in the barn nearby. But you did find Perry Hemsoth and one little girl, a twin of the one that you found, Daniil, hiding up in the second floor of the farmhouse, and there they remain on your orders as you all stepped back outside and encountered the spirit, this dark, cloaked, wooden-skinned, sort of elk skull masked spirit creature that did battle with you all, and on a hunch, Oliander Nyx and Virgil sought to exploit an apparent connection between the vulnerable and incapacitated Vilry Eldara and this spirit creature by severely wounding her. Her vulnerable form there in the farmhouse, and subsequently dragging her out into the rain, dousing her with oil, and setting her ablaze. All of these efforts seemingly having no effect whatsoever on the dark spirit creature that continued to menace you all. However, you were able to beat it back, and it subsequently retreated once more. Its threat ostensibly remains. And you all, Eulogy, started you inside of the farmhouse, a place of relative safety, and and you all sort of turn with the immediate threat of the spirit gone. You all turn to the nearest sight to be seen, which is that of Virgil standing over the blazing body of Vilri Eldara, Oleander on the porch, and the rain on this night continues to pour all around as you all look on, and so yes, that's where we come back. So let's see. Now, as you all turn your gaze there, amidst the embers, you still see Vilri's form sort of lightly twitching and still mostly incapacitated as the flames lick up off of her skin, and she retches one last time before going limp. And you still see, even amidst the flames, from the wounds that had been inflicted upon her, the stab wound through her heart and the vicious wound to her neck in the attempted decapitation, her sort of thick, almost syrupy molasses-like blood kind of oozing out and itself excreting a faint sort of shadowy smoke from it. It persists amidst the flames, but after she sort of goes limp, just a heartbeat later, there's sort of this intensifying sort of growth in this shadowy expulsion coming forth from her, and it starts to even seep from her mouth and her eyes, and this shadowy form is made all the more sinister as it coalesces directly over top of her body by virtue of the flames dancing all around it. But the shadows kind of coalesce in the form of a faintly humanoid figure, right? It quite shadowy and non-distinct, but it has sort of a broad-shouldered torso, these long, gaunt arms that sort of end in hands with almost like claw-like digits, and a small head with these massive curved horns extending up and outward, still sort of an indistinct, the finer features you can't quite make out. There's not really a face to it, and any details about its form are completely obscured with its shadowy nature. But you do see these sort of ember-like twinkling lights right where eyes would be, and as it forms, because it takes a moment to form, and then it starts to sort of cast its gaze left and right, and it's sort of positioned such that it's looking out toward Virgil, who's right there near it. But I'll give you guys a moment to see if you guys would like to react to anything.
I would like to prepare to, or I guess I would also like to move, but also prepare to cast Comprehend Languages if the thing starts to speak, or rather, if it lingers.
Absolutely. All right. So you're going to prepare that, or you're going to go ahead and do it?
Let's see. So it just like seeped up and it's like hanging out above, right?
Yeah. This is happening concurrently, right? So you're seeing that it's sort of taking shape and making your decisions on what you're going to do sort of concurrently. But so whether you cast it immediately or you ready it is fine. Just wanted to.
I'll go ahead and cast it, and in order to cast it, Eulogy is going to raise his little bellowing horn, and he's going to almost like performing different musical scales, except rather than progressing as one would expect, they kind of loop and jump here and there, but do overall kind of like in that lilting loop get higher and higher. And as he sort of sings into casting that spell, I guess I'll throw it in the thing. Did that come through? Oh, I'm probably still not hooked up. But anyway, after casting Comprehend Languages, upon seeing these twinkling lights, Eulogy will call out, I guess starting in common, and will say, "Dear Shadow, who are you, and how did you come to be here?"
Okay, so we're going to pause there and let other people say if they want to be doing anything else concurrently.
Sure.
So maybe going around the table, Oleander?
I will pull out my crossbow and have it loaded and sort of trained onto the shadow, and just kind of ready to shoot if it seems like it's going to act aggressively at all towards anyone.
Okay. Virgil?
I would like to jump backwards, take a step away.
All right, go ahead and move yourself according to your preference. All right. Anything else that Virgil's wanting to do?
No, Virgil is very much curious to see what this shadow thing does next.
Okay. Ulfgar. You're muted, Ulfgar, if you're saying something.
Sorry. So I guess my question is, I'm a little bit further away, but you're saying everybody's noticing this, right? Not just people close to it right now.
That's right.
Yeah. I guess similarly to Oleander, Ulfgar is going to maybe start to approach a little bit closer, but with weapon in hand, in case this creepy ass Shadow decides to start attacking us, because it doesn't look nice.
That's right. It does not look nice. Okay, so I've got Eulogy casting Comprehend Languages. I've got Oleander training his crossbow. Ulfgar approaching with both his hands on his axe. I think you had Storm Splitter out.
Yeah, Storm Splitter.
Okay, as well as Virgil sort of stammering backwards and trying to make sure that he is not immediately threatened. Very good. So, all right. So as you all sort of take in the sight of what's happening, and it seems to be taking in the sight of what is going on around it. I'll note that its form sort of fills out even just a bit more, and it sort of becomes such that it's maybe rising 10 feet off of the ground. Its broad shoulders, maybe twice the breadth of a normal adult human. And it casts its gaze about and sort of takes you all in. And Eulogy, by virtue of the fact that you cast Comprehend Languages, you understand as it begins to mumble to itself. And what it begins to say is the following. It begins to say, "What is this? This is not where it's supposed to be. Who are these? Malleus. Malleus said he had it arranged with Garloth, what of Ratislav, and that mewling Trojiro. Who are these arrayed before me? Who are these?" Okay, so you hear that, and I know Eulogy, you had mentioned that you had an interest in potentially, trying to speak to it or make some kind of conversation. So at this point, I'll say you have that opportunity.
Okay. All right. So Eulogy, upon hearing, and a tiny bit of that cut out, but I got the gist that it's like, what is this? That's not where I'm supposed to be. Muling Tojiro or something like that. Who are these three before me? To which Eulogy is going to respond, Shadow friend, I'm Eulogy, and this is Oliander. Behind you there's Virgil, and over there's Ulfgar. There's four of us, unless I'm new to the spell and I just didn't get all the number sense in order. What is your purpose here?
And you're saying this in common, Taldane.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks at you, and its head sort of just lingers in your direction, and it doesn't respond in Taldane. It responds in the language that it was speaking before, and you hear it mutter to itself, "This creature deigns to address me. This pitiful meat bag. How to respond, I wonder." And then it switches with almost without skipping a beat. It switches to Taldane. Although the Taldane that it speaks is clearly of an outdated dialect. It's by virtue of the way that it accents words, you can tell that it hasn't spoken Taldane in a while.
Quick question.
Mhm.
Good question. For those of us who do not have comprehend languages, whatever language it's speaking to us, would that have been discernible that it is like trying to speak, or that it is speaking, or does it just sound like unnoticed? Like, okay.
Yeah, so the rest of you hear this breathy voice, almost sounding something like parcel tongue from Harry Potter, right? That sort of like breathy, right?
Mhm.
Like very very menacing, certainly. And so, but it sort of, it's still positioned facing Eulogy, and it casts its gaze around to the rest of you all, and it says, "Bow before me. Prostrate yourselves."
And so you said that it says that in Taldane?
It does, yes.
Eulogy says, "You guys," addressing his friends, "this is amazing. I can understand everything it's saying. The spell is awesome." And Eulogy will give a half bow, but it's almost more like a exaggerated curtsy of like some kind of puppet, but only one set of strings went down and the other stays up high, so like a half bow.
So as Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm would say, a shit bow.
yeah, there you go, shit bow. Yeah, Eulogy says, "This meat bag half bows, for he only 1/8 understands what's happening here."
All right, so
Ulfgar will pipe in as well. I mean, Ulfgar will pipe in and just like, who are you and why should we bow to you?
So you piped in too, huh? Okay. Then
he's piping.
I just need charisma checks from both of you. Just straight up charisma checks.
Okay. All right. Cool. Ooh.
You said me and Eulogy need charisma checks?
Yeah, that's right, both of you.
checks, right? Not save. Eey.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty damn good for the grizzly Deepiron.
Okay, so this shadowy form, it momentarily it starts to raise a hand toward Eulogy, and as it does, Ulfgar chimes in as the second, and it turns from Eulogy, its head sort of darts over to Ulfgar over its shoulder, and it says. Your dark heart is the only thing that spares you from my wrath. It says this directed towards Eulogy, and then it's going to point its finger out at Ulfgar, and it's going to say, bow. And as it does, a beam of sort of dark purplish and green energy comes darting forward from its outstretched sort of forefinger right towards Ulfgar.
My ready to action! My ready to action!
Ready to action. If you'd like to take it, you can. If you'd like to hold just a moment, Ulfgar, roll a Constitution saving throw for me.
Is it against poison?
No, it's not. No. All right.
Ooh.
So, Ulfgar, this beam of purplish and green energy, it's sort of like a thin but writhing line, almost like that of like Kylo Ren's lightsaber, right? Where it's kind of like got this crackling nature to it, this faint crackling, but still clean, and it jets forward from its outstretched finger, and it precisely slams you in the chest, and you, Ulfgar, you feel this coursing, searing pain, and you look down and you see your chest cavity beginning to melt away as you take 40 points of damage, necrotic damage.
Oh no!
Is that a successful save or a fail?
Oleander, you have your ready to action that you said you'd like to trigger, or would you like to go ahead?
Hell yeah, I'd like to go ahead. You can't necrotic death beam my friend in the chest and not expect a crossbow bolt.
All right.
I will fire. Does a 22 hit?
22 does not hit. So
Guys, we need to get out of here.
Your crossbow bolt goes. It flies straight through the shadowy figure before you. And let me roll a quick perception check to see. Actually, yeah, there's no way he doesn't notice this. Okay, so or it doesn't notice this, I should say. So Ulfgar, what condition are you in after that?
Very bad
Okay.
condition.
So
Near
Ulfgar,
death.
Ulfgar, yeah, you all, anyone who looked over in the direction of Ulfgar would see that his armor and his sort of chest cavity it's sort of like, bare and exposed and rotting away.
Anybody else
His
lose
chest
Bruce?
cavity is open. Oh, am I still here? Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Ulfgar, can you hear
still
me?
hear? Can you still hear people? No.
I can still hear everyone, yeah. Oh, maybe he's talking to Oleander.
He was, yeah.
Okay. Maybe
He's having issues.
Yeah, maybe just drop in and out of the channel.
He's really role playing that cavity in his chest.
Okay, so the bolt comes flying through the shadowy form. Would you guys like to enter initiative at this point?
Sure, makes sense.
Okay, let's do that.
Do you have to click your token on this business?
Give me 1 second just to set up the.
I just need to open that combat tab first.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I just need to activate the encounter real quick, and then we can. Bam. Okay, go ahead and roll your initiatives.
My initiative rolls are
Hold
always
on, initiative.
garbage.
We're gonna fight this thing.
I mean, we're in initiative. We're in turn order, I guess.
Yeah, we're gonna just because there were some aggressive actions taken. I think it's appropriate to assess the situation moment
By
by moment.
you.
For added, note here. I mean, anybody who didn't look over my body, I didn't see how Bruce described it necessarily, but what they would have heard was, "Oh, yeah." Oh.
Just like taking a real good shit.
Okay. So the shadowy figure it takes the crossbow bolt, flies straight through its incorporeal form, again just sort of hovering over the writhing flames that lick up from Vilry's lifeless body, and Oleander. So you went. So yeah, Eulogy. As these things start to pop off, you see the head swivel around, the sort of faint glowing eyes swivel around towards Oleander. Eulogy, you've got an opportunity to react or take some action or talk.
Okay. Cool.
Whatever you decide. Yep.
So I was looking for a condition to mark myself with, but I don't see sexy, so we'll just skip that. Okay. Anyway, Eulogy is going to attempt to persuade his friend. So he's like in that half shit bow, and seeing everything go on, he's gonna like look left and right, and seeing how much damage was done to Ulfgar. He's gonna use his action to attempt to persuade folks to, including this flame shadow spirit thing, to just whoa, everybody, wow, slow down, let's talk, this is weird and interesting, right? And then bonus action, gonna cure, or not cure wounds, healing word at Ulfgar, but that's gonna be at 2nd level because of the spell slottage. Okay, did that come through? Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom. And then, as Eulogy says that, he's going to move just a little bit more this way.
Okay. All right. So Eulogy goes to Ulfgar's aid. Virgil, you've got an opportunity to do something, should you like to.
All right, I've got to.
Having seen this thing attack a member of our group, Virgil is going to go ahead and hold up his hand and call on Regathiel's power.
Nice.
Okay. So I see. So your first Eldritch Blast, it sounds like that you let fly, goes straight through. Once again, the incorporeal form before you, the shadow form. Your second blast does much the same. So Virgil sort of hits out with two flaming force spell energy balls from his two hands. And anything else from you, Virgil?
I will simply step further back towards Ulfgar.
Okay. Ulfgar, you have an opportunity to do something, should you like to. Now, I'll remind you all, the last thing that this being asked of you all was to bow before it. So.
Yeah, Ulfgar's going to slump his body up off the ground real fast, and he'll sort of prop himself up on one knee and just bow his head and sit there in silence. And that is his turn.
All right. Virgil, you said you called on the power of Regathiel. It might be important how exactly you chose to do so. So, given that there's a verbal component to Eldritch Blast, what was that verbal component that you used?
Feel Regathiel's wrath.
Okay. So,
Nice.
with that, the shadowy being, it looked as though it was swiveling in the direction of Oleander, and then there's a couple of fiery bolts that fly through its incorporeal form, and it hears this mention of Regathiel, and it turns, and its arms just sort of stretch out to either side as it looks at Virgil, and it says, "Ah, so a measure of who you are has been revealed. Then I will wipe you from this earth." And it will... What will it do? It's going to...
Surrender?
No, I don't think it will.
DC 77. Persuasion check.
Okay. Virgil, it's going to point its finger in your direction, and a little bit different from the one that hit Ulfgar. This one is but a thin green ray that springs forward from its hand, as it sort of, you see this sort of crackling greenish energy as it begins to incant in that sort of breathy Gasnes, and the only one who understands this is Eulogy. He understands it as an incantation saying, "I call on you, the dark energy of the universe, to do away with this form." And a green ray leaps forward. I'll need a dexterity saving throw from you, Virgil. Okay, so Virgil, you are going to take 45 points of force damage as this beam slams into your left clavicle. Where does that leave Virgil?
I just updated my health on my token.
Okay. So quite poor. Okay. So it does this, and then you see it sort of pull its hand back. It looks up at you, that you're still there. It's easy to read that it's having this moment of kind of confusion that you would still be there, and it sort of like looks at its hand, that it's still flexing its index finger upward in sort of a confused way. You can't see really its facial features, but if it had a discernible brow, it might be furrowed right now. And it looks up, and only Eulogy understands when it says, "Curious, my power is not what it should be.
Oh God.
No matter." And it seems to prepare itself to do further harm to him. But Oleander, before it has the means to do so, you will have an opportunity to do something, should you like.
I will cry a little bit, a lot of it. um, I'm going to cast Druidcraft. To using the effects, instantly light or snuff out a candle, torch, or small campfire. So I'll try to snuff out the fire on Vildry's body with the Druidcraft.
Okay. Okay. To snuff out the fire, a light around Vildry. Okay. So yeah, I mean this fire that currently engulfs the motionless body of Vildry below this shadowy form is certainly small enough that your Druidcraft can sort of deal with it. So it is quickly extinguished. Excuse me. As you do that, and this sort of the licking flames rising up all around the shadowy form dissipate, and through the persistent light that sort of emanates from the center of the cavern area, at least for everyone except for Virgil, although Virgil has the ability to see quite well anyway. The shadowy form remains there, at least for the time being.
All right, that's the only trick I had up my sleeve. I will get on my knee. I will bow down to evil, awesome shadow power.
Okay. So that'll take us back to the top of the round with Eulogy.
All right. Eulogy is after thinking on the words about the dark energy of the universe. Eulogy is going to he's going to go out of his ship bow pose. He's going to start rummaging through his backpack, and he's going to pull out the small charm that he took off of one of the Grioths many a day ago. The little chaos charm that like gave him that vision of chaos, and he's going to very cautiously hold it, and he will offer it with one palm extended up towards the smoke, and he will say to the smoke, "Please, here, spare us for this small token of the dark energy of the universe. We humbly request not to die right now."
Death comes to all. Death is the ideal state of things. No.
All right. So after he says no, Eulogy is gonna start running. And how bright is this like green light?
The green light in the center of the area, it's sort of, to your view, your perception, you're still in that sort of tree chamber underground, and so it illuminates fairly well the area or immediately around the house. You can see to the south, at least you would know based on your previous experience being in a chamber very, very similar to this one, that there might be an entrance or exit to the south.
Alrighty. Can I use my Cloak of the Bat to hopscotch away?
Yeah, absolutely. You can use your cloak of the bat.
All right. So Eulogy is gonna grip the edges, or he's gonna put the backpack back on. He's gonna stuff the Griath charm back in there, and he'll say, "God damn it, useless fucking charm, only creepy, nothing good." And he's gonna grip the edges of the cloak of the bat, and he's gonna say, "We gotta get out of here." And he is going to try to fly 40 feet, gliding along. Let me measure that out towards the entrance. And bam.
Okay.
And that is it.
All right. So Eulogy, you went 40 feet.
Yes.
Do you want to take the dash action? Because I think you used your movement, but by my reckoning, you've still got a bonus action and an action.
I guess depending on how long the offering of the Griath charm is deemed to take.
I'll say
happy to get
the offering. I'll call the offering a bonus action, and you've still got your action.
Dope. Eulogy touches ground very briefly, and then he's got this adrenaline rush, and so he's like, yeah, motherfucker, get out of here. Takes another 40, and looks over his shoulder, and turn.
All right, Virgil, that will take it back to you. So Virgil sees as his friend Eulogy attempts to make an offering. You wouldn't have understood the exchange, but you see Eulogy's face go sort of stock still, and he bolts, right. He takes off, trying to get away from this situation.
Oliander's going to take a moment just to kind of shout out to Eulogy, "Everybody upstairs now!" And then Virgil can do whatever he wants.
Okay.
Virgil is going to run towards the thing.
Okay.
And slice at it with Regathiel's longsword.
All right. All right. So I see a dexterity save. Where is it? Oh boy.
Oof.
Okay. So.
Boy's got a death wish.
So Virgil, you do exactly this, and your blade, when you level it against this being, unlike the other implements and effects that you all have attempted, your blade slams into this being, and it seems to sort of jolt it ever so slightly as you do, but it betrays no signs of having been sort of harmed. It's almost like somebody flicked this person, or flicked this being. Is sort of the reaction you get.
How much damage did the foot cause?
Is that after both attacks?
That is after, yeah. So your first one, that's the effect you get, and then you sort of determined, and with the nothing but the belief that Regathiel will empower your arm. Virgil goes in for a second, and your second strike has much the same outcome.
Use a bonus action to cast Misty Step.
All right. So Misty Step 30 feet. Where does Virgil apparate to? Inside of the house.
Okay, cool.
All right.
No, I ran the wrong way.
Okay. So Virgil, you head inside. Is there anything else on Virgil's turn? I think you used bonus action. You still have move action, or some movement.
Oleander's going to, noticing Virgil behind him, turn around and quickly just say, "Grab the girl's body and go upstairs. We need to get out of here."
All right. So Virgil, when you run into the house, there's a few things you notice, right? You notice actually roll a perception check for me, Virgil, and then Ulfgar, be ready with whatever you might want to do on your turn.
Shibello is here.
Shibello is here. All right, Shibello. I'll give you. So to catch you up real quick, the group standing over the burning body of Vilry, a sort of shadowy being took form and began to speak in a language that none of the rest of you understood, except for Eulogy, who had preemptively cast Comprehend Languages. He was able to pick up on some sort of confused muttering to itself about a few individuals, sort of confused about where it is and why it is there, before being entreated by Eulogy, and it began to speak in sort of an old archaic form of Taldane, the common tongue, and it sort of presented itself in this lordly manner, telling you all to bow before it. It was met with some stiff-necked resistance from several of you so far. Ulfgar has taken a purple and green beam to the chest that has sort of like, he's grievously wounded in his chest cavity, with much of his exposed flesh rotting away, and his sinew and muscles and bones of his rib cage exposed. Virgil, beseeching Regathiel for aid and strength, has similarly been subjected to a powerful spell that has knocked him down quite badly. Ulfgar subsequently got up and bowed. Eulogy has begun to run away, and we're basically, where would you like to be dropped in, sort of immediately in the area around the farmstead? I'll let your companions advise you.
Everyone's running back up
Yeah.
into the second floor.
Oh, I'm not out away. I don't know. Closest to the Eulogy, I guess, works.
Closest to Eulogy?
So everyone's running into the Eulogy ran the wrong direction, apparently. And then people called out, "We got to get out of here. Go to the second floor. Go upstairs."
Oh. Then closest to Oliander. He usually knows how to get away.
All right, so yeah, Oliander is there on the front porch with you.
I can't see it, but what are they?
And I'll just need you to roll initiative to get in on the situation. Otherwise, Virgil, you just took your turn, and your perception check of 10. So Virgil, you noticed the back door of the house in the kitchen. There's a back door leading out, sort of on the northwest side of the farmstead there. You also notice the limp body of Yali Pontius. You just glance over, and as you're taking in the sort of situation in the house, and you see that she's actually like slightly leaning up off of the couch cushions where she had been not 15 minutes ago, presumably dead and lifeless, right? She's sort of still pale, ashen faced, but she sort of leans up on her left shoulder as she tries to lift her body up off of the couch.
Did she have any crazy wounds?
She does not. No, she's kind of like dirty, muddy. If you remember, you all found her in the rain, lying in the mud. So she's dirty. She's disheveled. She's pale and looks really out of sorts and disoriented. But she is otherwise has no obvious wounds on her. Okay, so that's what you see. Ulfgar, you have an opportunity to act. And Shibello, give a initiative check when you can, please. Or did you say you can't?
We can roll it. Well, hold on. Actually, I think I'm about to be there, so I'm not going to roll it. If you want to roll it for me, that's fine.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do it just to get it situated.
Ulfgar's going to go ahead and open his turn by using his bonus action to use Second Wind and heal himself for 1d10 plus 5. So we're going to do that.
Okay.
Did it not roll? Oh, it did.
It did. Oh wait, did it? It's not
Yeah, it did.
showing. Here. Oh, there it is. 8. Yes.
It's above the description, yeah.
Yep. All right. And then what? What would you like to do?
And then he is going to. I guess remind me again how high the porch is off the ground, like how high this railing is.
It's only about 3 feet. You know, it's a few steps up to where it currently is. Otherwise, yeah, it's just 3 feet. Normal sort of porch height.
All right. Well, then Ulfgar is going to go ahead and run towards the door, and in an attempt to remain out of like arm's length distance, right? He's going to jump up onto the deck as opposed to running up the stairs closer towards the shadowy figure. And presuming that he successfully does that, he is going to go ahead and use the remainder of his movement to get inside the house.
All right.
Do I need any sort of like athletics check or anything like that for the jump, or am I good?
No, your athletics is it's not hard to clear at all.
Okay, cool. Well, then he's going to get into the house.
Okay.
And move a
So
little bit in this direction, so there's wood between him and the thing.
all right. So the anything else on Ulfgar's turn?
That'll be it.
All right. So that'll take it back to the shadowy being. So hovering there, still in the darkness. It sees the lot of you sort of scattering before it, and it says, "So you are not servants of Malleus." Ooh, actually, Eulogy is not here. Okay, so then rather than hearing that, what you guys hear is and it turns to Shibello. You are oddly exposed at the moment.
I didn't see it. Where is it?
It is directly in front of you at the bottom of the porch steps there. Yeah.
Is there a token there?
It's hovering over Villery's dead body.
Ah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So you should be able to see. I mean, let me know if you can't see the token, but I have added its token there.
No, I just see Villery's body, but I don't know if that matters.
Okay, it's not necessarily super important.
Fair enough.
Let me see. Are you able to see it now?
I see it in the initiative order.
Oh shit. Okay, hold on.
Oh, spoiler.
You guys aren't able to see the token
I
now?
didn't.
I can.
Okay.
I can't, but it's okay.
Okay. Either way, you know it's there. It turns back. It turns back in the direction of Oliander and Shibello, and it says in after saying some of those words, like I said, in this language that you guys don't understand, it turns to you and it points at both of you, and it says, "Stop and bow before me." And it seems
Even though I'm already bowing?
You are bowing. It's more so saying this in sort of like, you know, it sees people scrambling around and running away who were also bowing, and it's clearly sort of, you know, telling you to stay where you are. And Shibello, technically, you know, you can say whether or not you were bowing already or chose to bow, but that's your call.
Well, he'll bow. He you know,
Okay.
he ain't trying to fight nobody.
Okay, so with that situation, it seems to be sort of like recommending as sternly as it can that you all not try and leave, right? And then it's gonna say By what means have I come here?
I do not know, great and powerful being. Who are you?
If you do not know who I am, then we have no cause for conversation.
What was that?
He says, if you don't know who I am, then we have no cause for conversation. And that'll be effectively the end of its turn. Give it again. I recognize you guys are in the midst of scrambling and taking time-sensitive actions, so we'll go ahead and cut off its conversation there. Oleander, your turn. You're up.
Run away. I'll be like, Shibello, get out of there! And I will turn and run.
Okay, as you turn to run, a readied action triggers. Let me just roll something real quick.
Roll twice? Are you sure?
So as you begin to turn and run, Shibello, you watch as a purple and green light leaps forward from the hand that was outstretched, and it goes right for Oleander's back. Oleander, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Just saying, any attack against me is disadvantaged because of my cloak of the Displacer Beast.
It's not an attack roll.
Take it. Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
What was the save you said?
That's a Constitution save.
Ah, yes. My known strong suit. Die, little fairy man, die!
Oh,
right.
yeah.
So, Oleander, you take 30 points of... Oh, wait, no, it can't be 30. Oh, yeah, 30 points of necrotic damage slams into your back.
Can I have that with Uncanny Dodge? The wording is just when an attacker that you can see hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to have the attack's damage.
It's not an attack, though, is the thing.
What? I don't believe you.
Let me just read the Uncanny Dodge real quick, just to see. Hits you with an attack.
It's more just a menacing thought that does you crap tons of damage.
Yeah, I mean, because he's not rolling an attack, right? He's casting a spell that is having an effect on you. So
Fine. Parum.
Yeah, I know. It's not great what is happening. So Shibello, you watch as your friend is he begins to dart away, and this bolt of green energy slams into his back. I think that leaves Oleander in what state?
Oh, fine.
Are you still up?
Oh, I'm still up, yeah.
Okay. How is that? Don't you only have 35 hit points? Did you have 10 hit points?
I did have 10 hit points, and also you said 30 damage.
Yes. Okay. All right. Good. So it slams into Oleander's back, but it seems like maybe you continue to run.
Oh hell yeah! He shot me.
Okay. And so once again, the being seems to like Shibello. You're the only one now who sees it. It kind of like inspects its hand from which it had let forth this purplish and green spell, and it inspects its hand, and you see it almost sort of like sort of like moving its hand around like in almost like a troubleshooting motion. It's trying to sense whether or not it's making its hand motions correctly, right? without saying much of anything else. But then it turns to you as it's doing this, and you see its little white light motes of flickering light in where its eyes would be. It turns to Shibello and it says, "Stay." All right, and then Shibello, unless Oleander has anything else he would like to do.
I do have something I'd like to do.
Okay.
As a bonus action, I will grab the hilt of my thorn, and I will focus the healing energies to call forth a healing spirit. I will expend 4 charges. And so a little fey spirit will appear right on top of Virgil. Let's see. And so, yeah, it'll stay there, and it'll begin to just start, looking at him and trying to help tend to his wounds. So, it's whenever a creature moves into this space for the first time or starts its turn there, you can cause the spirit to restore even points. Alright, so it's not yet, but he's getting ready to apply that good healing.
Okay. All right. So you wanted it right here next to Virgil. Okay.
Yeah, so that him and Ulfgar can both move through it.
All right. Very good. Very good.
And that'll be the end of my turn.
That will be the end of Oleander's turn. All right, Shibello, that will bring it to you.
I did not mean to do that.
Shibello's gonna kind of stay bowing, with his head to look up with his eyes and just say, I cannot understand you, O great being. Do you speak any other languages?
He spoke to you in Taldane, in the common tongue.
Oh. What did he say then to me, or what did he say?
He told you to stay.
And Shibello will listen, given all the things that he's seen, and he'll say, "What are you? I don't know why you're here. What do you? I don't know what to. Well, how can I help? What can I do for you? I don't know how you got here either, buddy."
Daddy, chill.
Okay. He looks at you and he says, finally, some sense. I will spare you a moment. Now, how did I arrive here? I ask you the same. I was meant to be brought forth by my servants, Malleus and Trojiro and Rastislav. But you and your frightened friends are not them. Where is this?
You're in Taldor? In the year 4711.
Yes, I know what year it is. I've been counting the years for millennia.
Ah, yes. Well, do I any history or anything? Just do I recognize any of the names or anything that he's said of who he might be?
Actually, yes, Shibello. Go ahead and give me a history check with advantage.
Ooh, it's not like I'm good at it, but let's we try things. Yeah.
With advantage, all things are possible.
Oh, okay. Well, God. with a 13, you recall your sort of pre-reincarnation studies, and although you can't, it's sort of like Malleus. That name, it rings a bell. It's Malleus. It was some lord in Ustalav. What was that? The lesson, which in history class, some warlord in Ustalav a millennia ago. Certainly not there anymore. But that's all you can sort of muster from your sort of attempts to recall your historical lessons, or your lessons on history from when you were still in school in Corvosa.
But we killed the body of the woman, but below you, who was overflowing with necromantic energy, and then somehow you came forth from that.
Okay, so as you say this, the spirit being kind of looks down at as though it was looking down at its feet, which it doesn't have feet, and it sees this badly burned body directly below it, as though noticing it for the first time, and as it looks down, it says, "So this is the vessel they chose. And how did it end up here?" And it looks back up sharply at Shibello.
It was being cultivated, or it was in almost like a womb-like thing in a ley line in the Verduran forest. That's kind of where it came from.
How did it arrive here on the stoop of some insignificant farmstead in the hands of insignificant beings such as yourselves?
Well, I spoke with the ley line, and it asked us to cut her free from it, as I'm a druid of this, the stars, but also this earth as well. So to placate the great and powerful being, plant, we cut it away, and cut her away, and took her body with us.
So, you have interfered in the grand arc of my plans. You have stumbled into a viper's nest, my friend. One that you will not disentangle from.
I see that now.
Yeah, so it seems to sort of rear up as it almost like it was going into some sort of rage. It sort of seems to concentrate all of its energy all at once into something. You can't tell, and you see Shibello, its form begin to it's already sort of vague, shadowy form begin to sort of become less stable and dissipate at the edges, and it says, "Now I will reside with you, and you will take me back." And as it does this, its form altogether dissipates into the sort of formless shadow that it was before it had materialized over Vilry, and the shadow form kind of leaps forward at Shibello. Shibello, go ahead and roll a wisdom saving throw.
Oh man, I'm good at those. Wisdom saving throw. Come on, Shibello. Oh my god, you suck.
So the shadow lurches forward at Shibello, and like a crashing wave, it washes over him and dissipates. And Shibello, you feel no different, not whatsoever. And you find yourself just sort of, I think still kneeling there on the front porch of this farmstead as you look out before you at this chamber, this vine-filled chamber that you see before you, and the burnt, crispy body of Vilry lying at the foot of the porch there, and you hear your friends inside frantically sort of scrambling about behind you. So we can go ahead and drop initiative there.
What did it say to me again?
It said that you will serve as its vessel now and take it back where it belonged.
Cool.
All right. So yeah, we'll
I want to go away.
Drop out of initiative there. You all are there in and around the Pontius farmstead. Eulogy, I think maybe, I don't know if you come back or, what do you guys want to do from there?
Yeah. Eulogy will, upon realizing he was running away the wrong direction, would have been turning around to come on back anyway. So he'll flutter on by, and I guess as he's approaching, he notices Shibello get all real hooked up by that demon. And so Eulogy will actually pause there, and he'll not go further, and instead we'll take a moment, watch Shibello, and he will call out to Shibello and say, Shibello, are you all right? Shibello.
Just kind of look around and be like, yes? His eyes kind of going back and forth, and he's like, I don't know.
Yeah, Shibello, you feel normal. I mean, you
right? No, that's what I'm saying. It's like his reaction is one of like, I feel fine, but I don't feel like I should feel fine.
What's your favorite type of mushroom?
I don't know. I never really had one.
Okay, and I guess with Eulogy's passive insight, he's gonna conclude to himself, all right, for now this is safe. And he's gonna come back and he's gonna stop by Vilry, and he's gonna not take his eyes off Shibello, and he'll say, are you possessed?
I don't feel possessed. I don't feel any different than normal.
And then with that, Eulogy is going to call out loudly, craning his head up towards the window, if there is one up on the second floor, and he's going to shout, everybody, you can come back. Shibello's probably possessed, but he's not killing anybody yet. And he will wait to see if he hears a response.
All right.
I guess in response to that, Ulfgar will poke his head out from the door here, and very bravely poke his head out, and he'll say, "The hell was that thing?"
And I'll say, I don't know. It mentioned names that sounded familiar, but I couldn't quite place them. Was it Malleus and I feel like that was some warlord from Usalov a long time ago, but
Tojiro? Was that one of the names?
Tajiro, yeah.
Does Eulogy know who Tojiro or Malleus are?
Roll a. So, assuming you guys all sort of group back up with each other inside the house, I assume. There, you have an opportunity to sort of all come around the sort of circle together and reflect back on this interaction, and you recognize. Well, let me ask for history checks from all of you, except Shibello. You've already rolled yours.
Nice.
I believe in someone. I believe in someone at some point.
Ulfgar, please roll with advantage. Otherwise, yeah, everybody else just roll normal.
He's like, somebody gotta get a halfway decent roll for me to justify the information I want to give out. Oh my god, double fours.
All right.
Oh my god.
So
What a great advantage I got.
So Oleander, you recall what you understand to be sort of folk tales, tall tales of dark beings that your kinfolk, right, the fairy folk, would tell around the campfire to each other of these beings, Garloth and Rotislav, and you reflect back on them, and you, in the stories, these individuals are fae of great power. They are sort of used as a bit of a boogeyman, if you will, in the bedtime stories that your parents would read or tell around the campfire, and in them they were described as members of a wider group, a group of other fae, and the thing that set these fae apart was their sort of being taken with some group, some philosophy, this dark hidden philosophy that you remember being called something like the Whispered Path, or the unspoken way, and yeah, that's what you recall. Individuals of great power in some versions of the story, because they're told a little differently. In some versions, they are mighty fae warriors from ages past, sort of avenging the great tragedy of the spread of civilization, almost in this like semi-heroic light. In others, and in those versions, they sort of succumb to dark ways in their pursuit of dealing vengeance against the ever encroaching tide of stone and brick and iron that has bespoiled the world. In other versions, they are just straight villains and boogeymen who will sort of appear and terrorize people who tell stories about them, and so that's what makes it even more scary, that we're telling a story about them, right? So it's like that's what you recall, Oleander, about those individuals. So Garloth and Rotislav are the two names that you recognize from those sort of campfire stories that you heard as a child.
I assume Oleander, or excuse me, Oleander, shares this information.
Yes, I will tell you all about the folk tales of the dark evil beings.
Oh.
This little girl seems to be alive. Let's get her upstairs to somewhere more comfortable.
Quickly,
Well,
Virgil,
can you
do
help
it.
me?
Alive?
Alright, Bruce, because we're out of initiative, can I let my spirit do its healing thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and dispense your healing.
Alright, so first one will go to Virgil. So, let me pull it up. First one to Virgil, 3d6 of that is healing goodness. Kind of a womp, but 9 healing to Virgil. I forgot how many times I can do this. Spellcasting modifier, so 4? Alright. Ulfgar, get over here. Let this thing lick your chest cavity. Ooh.
Ulfgar will approach. Ready
Alright,
to
let,
get licked.
let it really get in there. We're gonna let it lick a little.
Mm.
Oh my god, these things just really don't want to lick out your chest cavity.
It takes practice. Don't worry, little thing.
What?
I mean,
I see
remind me. I
3
think
rolls. Which rolls are for me?
healing spirit doesn't it do?
2.
The
Doesn't it
7 and a
dispense
6?
healing up to a maximum of 40 or a certain amount?
No.
Or is it just up to a minute?
You can do it a number of times equal to your spellcasting
that's what it is.
modifier.
Gotcha. So you've used it 3 times so far, I think, right?
It's
And-
one
got
slash your spellcasting, so 4.
So you got up to 4. Yep. Okay.
Ulfgar, which one of you is looking a little more hurt? Who wants
I
to-
am still pretty low, injured, but I'm not like on my deathbed, so if other people need healing, I'm not opposed to them receiving healing.
I'm fine, I think. You know what? Virgil, you got it. Lickety, lickety, lickety. 11. Alright, so this little, I forget what they're called.
Give him all your good healing.
Yeah, he got all the good healings because he's a good boy. He licks y'all up, feels good, and then he disappears.
Fades away.
Alright, guys, here's the thing. If we're gonna go back to town, we should bring this girl because she looks not totally dead. Yeah. Are we just gonna
All
teleport
right.
out of here?
Yeah. Well, let's take Vilry's body with us as well.
That's
There's
cool.
Well, aren't her mother and
Yeah,
sister
Is
still
there someone
upstairs hiding?
upstairs? We should get the rest of
Yeah,
them.
we'll go upstairs and grab them.
Yeah. So,
Right,
so
can
you
we find a
guys.
limit on your teleporters there, Virgil?
No, not that I know.
Okay. Yeah, there isn't. So you guys. Well, there's up to 8. I think it's 8 people, if I remember correctly.
do they have to be
8
alive?
individuals. Well, it's 8 individuals and carried objects. Technically, a dead body is an object. So.
Ulfgar, shoulder Vilry.
Wait.
Yeah.
I don't know if I feel good about going back to town. Like, or at least me.
Why?
I don't know.
Well, I guess there is no active threat, right? Perhaps we should
Yeah,
go
but
ahead and
I could be an
go
active
down.
threat.
That's what
You'd
I'm
be a threat.
saying. There's no active threat
Huh?
here, so let's see. Let's take stock, right?
But no, why would you think you're a threat?
The spirit thingy out there said it was gonna possess me, take it back to where it should, and then it washed over me, and I felt like mentally I was trying to fight it off, and I mean I feel normal, but I just I don't. It just dissipated, but like over me. I don't know. I don't feel good about this. Maybe everything's fine, but those names and what Oleander describes, feels like a great evil, and I don't think this is all just done yet.
Well, what
What
are
if
we
we-
supposed to do?
What if we talk with Vilry?
Lily's dead.
Yes, but I have a handy little tune. I'm not sure how her having been burned up will affect it. But there is a spell that might hold some answers, depending on how much she's interested in sharing. But this may be best not for children's eyes. And similarly, I suppose we should cover the body in the other room. The old man, he's still dead, is he not? And
Oh, he
she
is
will
very dead.
peek.
Yeah, he's torn up. Remember, so the body of the man that lies in the kitchen, he's kind of got these like gaping gashes, sort of twisting gashes up along his left side of his body, fairly eviscerated on that side. Yeah.
Let's
Also, is
here
the wooden
quickly,
creature still alive out there? Or did something else happen?
To the
Meta
best of your
question, I
knowledge,
guess.
it escaped. Yeah, it escaped, and then this all happened sort of in the aftermath as you all were turned back and regarded Vilry and the situation over there.
well, here, let me drag this rug just as for the short term. I'm just gonna cover the body. I don't know what else to do. So Eulogy's gonna take that circular rug and he's gonna cover this body,
Okay.
and then he's gonna say, "All right, let's maybe take Vilry's body outside for a moment.
She's already outside.
Let's take our body
Oh, I guess.
outside, I guess."
Okay.
No, we can leave her in view of the front door. If any of the children want to give themselves nightmares, it's their fault at that point. It may be helpful to have some group input. This spell has a limited capacity, and again, I don't know how effective it will be because of the fire. And maybe, I guess, if it's not effective, we should just resume the fire and like really burn the body.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the original sort of mindset was if we burn the body, they can't bring her back again. So I guess that's still probably better. She's just causing a lot of trouble.
True. Though at this point, it may very well be that it wasn't even her. And Eulogy casts a furtive look at Shibello. But here, let's all gather round Vilry's body.
Do you want it with the rice or without?
Okay.
Shibello.
So yeah, the
arriving,
group.
Shibello.
Is there anybody who specifically does not want to go outside and gather around Vilry's body?
Before Virgil does that, he wants to extend his hand towards the nearly dead child and use what's the ability? My lay on hands to heal the child for 5 HP.
All right. So for a +5. Okay, so you lay your hand on her, and you feel the sort of warming, healing energy that you are able to dispense, sort of gather and leap forward through her body, and you see her cheeks sort of redden and sort of pinken with new vitality as you do this. she still seems dazed and out of it, and confused and speechless. Okay, so I guess
Oleander's going to stay inside.
Oleander's going to stay inside. Okay.
Yeah, because he feels a little guilty about talking to her when he's the one who stabbed her in the chest right before she got her head partially cut off and then set on fire. So he's going to post up on this wall over here and kind of just keep an eye on the girl and just make sure everything's chill inside the house.
All right.
I'm not sure Villery will oblige you too much. Any helpful information, but I guess we'll see.
I guess I feel there's a great need for answers and not many avenues at the moment, and besides, I've just really wanted to try the spell out. So, and Eulogy will unsling his low-toned lute, and he will initially just play one very low open string note, and he's just gonna let that kind of like hum for a little while until he notices the slightest twitch in the body, and then when there is a small twitch, say in a finger perhaps, then he will strum another note, and then another part will twitch, and then he will continue strumming, and it goes a little faster as the rest of the body twitches, not rising, but just kind of like, I don't know, like electrical shock to it.
Mm-hmm.
And he will cast Speak with Dead.
Yeah. So you cast the spell, and it certainly does take effect as you say, and she sort of lurches, much like she did as she was writhing and dying. She lurches and kind of, her eyes shoot open, and they sort of gloss over with this milky white. Her skin is very badly burned. And so she's like heavily disfigured, at least from based on what you guys remember her saying. So her previously quite attractive elven features are, one of her ears is mostly burned off. Much of the left side of her her head's hair has been completely burnt off, and she sort of sits up, and she looks, her head slowly turning in Eulogy's direction.
Hello, Villery. It's good to see you. You look great. How did you become involved with that spirit that left your body?
What spirit are you talking about?
Oh, okay. Good start. How did you come to be inside that blighted heart of the wood?
I don't know. I awoke there, and I was in water. I was in a womb. The womb of the tree. That's what they called it. The womb of the world. The world's soul. I don't know what happened before. But I was there. I was there until an axe hacked through my home. And I was yanked out. And she turns her head over towards Shibello, and she says, by you, I think. That was not pleasant. And then she falls sort of, with this entire time she's speaking, she has kind of this, like, mostly blank look on her heavily disfigured face. And she, once she sort of remarks on, having been discovered by you all, she turns her head back towards Eulogy and she says, does that answer your question?
Thank you. In some ways, yes. I have one more question, and then I'm curious if any others have questions. And Eulogy looks at the others. Those who called it the womb of the world's soul, who were they?
They were Shojiro. Shojiro said that
Okay.
he would bring me back. Bring me back from the darkness. He plucked me out from a long line of souls. We were waiting on a path, and he set his hand on my shoulder and brought me back. He said I had a great purpose to fulfill, but I was just glad to be alive. And she looks back at Eulogy. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Let's see. So that's how the spirit. How do you be a woman tree who call? Okay, so I think we've got like two more questions. Wait, I think right. 5. Yeah, we have 2 more questions. Do any of you have ideas? I do have one question that may be best saved for last.
I don't have any specific questions, I don't think.
All right. Well
So
then,
Billy didn't seem to know what that thing was or how it came to be a part of her, right?
correct. It seems this Tajiro that we've heard some about now, I guess channeled her soul into the tree for the purposes of, Villery's eyeshadow.
Billy, what about the creature, the wooden antlered creature that was attacking the citizens of Sonatron. What did you know about that?
I knew.
And
Yeah. Well, I'm
I
assuming
was
that Eulogy, you relay that question or give like because you kind of have the.
if necessary, yes, relayed.
Okay. So she says, I knew that it scared the fuck out of you. I know that it serves him. It serves him. Yes. I serve him, I think.
Him?
What was that?
With
What was that?
I said, is she saying him?
Yeah.
Yeah, she said that thing serves him. I served him. I think that's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's your question, Eulogy? Just because I'm curious who is she referring to when she says him?
Well, I mean that I suppose that is a worthwhile question, and I was
what
just
was what was the
thinking
question
of
you were going to say for last?
I was thinking of asking just what Vilry would want done regarding her death in terms of services or resting places, things like that.
That doesn't help us.
Well, Shibello, phrase your question and I will relay it to this here crispified corpse.
I guess just when you say the creature served him and you thought you served him, who is him? Who is the him that you're referring to?
Drip, drip, drip.
What's his name?
Trojiro.
Okay.
Him.
Oh, there's an extra R.
They. It's all a blur. It's all a blur.
Oh. Thank you, Vilry. And I suppose if I was dead, I wouldn't want to look like this.
And her body just like falls limp.
Ah, that's exactly what I meant. Yes. Well, I suppose we should maybe just resume burning her. Although we could burn with her, I guess. As a gesture of respect, I do have still a small collection from her bed chambers way back when with fucking her personal effects and letters. There's miscellaneous letters, and I believe they were just letters between her and her mom or some shit like that. But perhaps they would best be laid to rest as well with her.
Yeah, I mean, we should finish what we started.
Perhaps we should burn her body in the middle of the creepy green pulsing shit.
Well,
I
Virgil
guess
says this isn't actually real.
Oh.
That is
How
correct. It is all an illusion.
It's just an illusion that we haven't been able to see through, but Regathio gives him the sight to see through it.
Oh my. Well, so this is just the regular farm then. Is that right, Virgil?
Exactly right.
Okay, and Regathiel gave you the sight, but not me, so that's good. Thank you, Regathiel. I guess let's maybe just drag the body a little bit further away from the house and then burn it. Here, someone
So,
help
like,
me. And Eulogy begins to drag the body out to where he is.
Okay.
Help.
And Eulogy will then take any of the letters or personal effects that he had gathered back in her bedchamber like a couple years ago, pulls them one by one out of the scroll case, and he will attempt to fold them into some vaguely geometric three-dimensional object, place them around her head.
Okay. Is there so while Eulogy embarks on this sort of I don't know ritual, the rest of you, what would you all like to be doing?
I don't know. I want to get the hell out of here, so I say we should go upstairs and collect that woman and the child, so that we can bring them to the feed mill with the rest of the townsfolk who are gathering there.
Walk up to Virgil and say, I know, don't you have the sight to be able to see certain evils? I wonder if you could see if you see anything evil within me.
I look Shibello over, but then I say, I don't quite see things that way, but let me take a look. I suppose I notice anything off about Shibello.
No, you don't. You
I guess
see
I mean
Shibello standing in front of you.
specifically your abilities as a paladin.
I have a scroll, but you have to be able to
if I use
cast
Divine
a spell, don't you?
Sense, do I notice anything weird about Shibello then?
Yeah, so if you use Divine Sense, you see, emanating out from Shibello this intensely powerful aura of necromancy and evil.
It's on you. In you. Part of you.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Okay.
I mean, we could always kill you.
Maybe not go quite there yet.
Yes. Yes. I'm not sure where to go from here.
Okay, Oliander, you've been sort of in the wings. Anything in particular you'd like to be getting up to while the other events are unfolding outside?
Not really. Like I said, I'm just keeping watch over the girl, making sure she's okay. So just waiting.
Okay, all right. Then yeah, it's up to you guys, sort of how you proceed from here. Eulogy, your sort of ritualistic preparations made. You are ready to do whatever it is that you'd like to do with the remains of Vilriel Dara.
I'm gonna step back, and I'm gonna say, anyone that wants to help, please feel free. I guess if this doesn't work quickly enough, it'll feel kind of mean. Flame of Regathiel, take you. and then he will cast Firebolt from his wand and try to light her back on fire.
All right. Well, with sustained enough effort, she certainly would catch fire again. The fact that her body has been sitting out in the rain for quite a little while now, and the initial sort of layer of oil that had been doused on top of her was sort of consumed in the first burning. Mostly, it's not easy. You have to sort of cast firebolts several times, many times, to get the intended effect. But sure enough,
I'll help out with Druidcraft. I can just instantly light or snuff out a small campfire. So I'll just be like,
all right,
Nice.
all right. So maybe watching Eulogy just sort of some firebolts. Oleander from afar wants to just put an end to it, and
Thank you. Yes.
fire begins to billow once again around the charred remains of Vilriar Eldara.
all right. Very dark, very grim trip to the farm. What's the next step? Shibello, do you feel comfortable going back to town?
I have an evil spirit that's residing within me that we don't really know anything about.
Did it say anything before it possessed you? What does it want?
It wants to be taken back to where it was supposed to be, which I'm thinking is the ley line that we took Bilry from.
That might also
But it
mean
hasn't compelled me to do anything yet.
it may mean that some agent might be coming for you. Perhaps this is an opportunity to set a trap. If Pajero, for example, is on the march to come get ya.
I mean, I don't think it's a trap. I think that we disrupted a process that was in place. And
No, we lay the trap.
Oh, you're saying we lay the trap?
I don't know. I think maybe you guys should take everyone back to town, see if you can learn anything more about those names. I know there's something in the history books about those people. I just can't remember what Shibello says. I mean, I feel like I should just try to keep away from you guys, at least for the time being.
I don't feel right about you being alone in this. And even care for you aside, it may not be the best thing. If you just vanish, then we know nothing. So, well, how about... Well, I'll stay with you, Shibello. We can stay out here at the farm and perhaps go to work laying the bodies to rest.
We can stay at the farm, given the whole wooden creature guy still running amok.
Sorry, did you say we can't?
So we probably shouldn't, just, because he's still around.
I suppose. Is there somewhere you would like to go to wait this out? To maybe see if the fever takes hold of you, so to speak?
Not in particular, just away from Stonatront and anybody that I could do or anything
All right.
hurt-wise.
Well, I will follow your lead on geographic locations. But I'm sticking with you. How about that?
If you must.
Well, no, I must. I don't have to. I mean, if you want someone else to stick with you, I mean, I guess we could ask them.
No, I meant just in general.
Okay. Well, yes, I'm here.
So, Shibello, while you're talking to Eulogy, there's a split second where we're going to jump into whisper chat.
Ooh.
All right. So there's a split second where you're sort of chatting with Eulogy, and you could swear. You sort of have to shake yourself. Oh, are you here?
Hello?
Yes. Okay. Cool. So you blink, and you could swear that you are seeing Daraj in front of you. And
I
instead of
want to call
Eulogy,
Daraj. Trying to get away from these guys.
instead of Eulogy, you see Daraj as he's talking to you, right? And then and you blink, and you sort of shake your head, and it's Eulogy again. Okay.
That's it?
That's it. Yep.
Okay.
All right. All right. So you guys talk, and what is the rest of the party, or what is the party at large going to do? Because I'm hearing Eulogy and Shibello maybe are staying at the farm. Meanwhile, Oliander, Ulfgar, and Virgil, what are you guys planning to or going to get up to?
Well, Ulfgar's going to go ahead and go upstairs to collect the woman and her child that are hiding up there, and let them know that they're not currently in danger.
Yeah, so Ulfgar, you go up and find Perry Hemsoth and Daniil Pontius, and bring them back downstairs. They're, Perry in particular is sort of, yanking at your sleeve, like, sir, what's transpired? What happened?
Well, I will admit that we are still not 100% sure what powers were at play here. But the most important thing for you to know is that you are currently not in any imminent danger, and that we need to move you to somewhere where you're not going to be isolated, in case anything does happen again.
She seems hardly comforted by the news that the so much mystery remains, and she just nods quietly, looks down at Daniil, sort of trailing behind her, grasping onto the hem of her sleeve, and she says, "Did you hear that, Daniil? The sir said that there's no danger."
And then Ulfgar will also point out to them that, your other child, who we had thought was perhaps injured more severely, appears to have awoken, and still seems maybe dazed and confused, but alive and hopefully recovering.
Yeah, so Ulfgar, you say this as you all are walking down the stairs from the second floor, and you sort of gesture down to sort of motion your arm in the direction of the still kind of somewhat dazed twin sister of Daniil, Yali, and when they see each other, Daniil sort of bursts out in a hysterical kind of excitement, and she rushes down the stairs and goes and just wraps her arms around her sister, who's still sort of dazed, and she says, Yali, you're okay, the sir said that you had died, and the girl says, that I died? Oh, my head. And she returns the hug, but she still seems quite confused, and in sort of a muted sense of jubilation, the sisters, the Daniil can't help but just grasp onto Yali and hold her, and even when she relinquishes her hug, she still keeps an arm around her in sort of a semi-protective grasp to just hold tight to her one remaining family member. So with that, you guys had mentioned wanting to maybe teleport back to the center of Sonatron. Is that what you guys want to go ahead and do now?
Not
Works for me if we're ready.
Yeah, the rest of them are alright.
Eulogy will stay with Shibello.
Okay, so Eulogy and Shibello staying behind. The rest of you gather around Virgil.
Should we talk about this more? I am concerned about leaving two of our friends here, especially when one of them may be host to demons.
I mean, we're not going to stay here, for what it's worth.
Where are you going to go?
Probably north of here, just further away.
How are
from
we supposed to
Sonatron.
meet up with you? You can't travel further into the forest by
Well-
yourselves.
Well, how
Maybe we
about
can
this? Harry Hamsock can take everyone back to town. And then the rest of us can move forward to address this issue with Crazy Spirit and the ley line.
Well, I definitely don't think we should go back there. I don't think we should. Obviously, I think the spirit within me would like to.
Or this is the spirit talking, and the best place for us to go is back into town. After all, Vilry was not found in town. Vilry was in the heart of the woods. Does Eulogy remember the heart of the woods is north of here?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Eulogy's gonna say, north of here is where we found Vilry. Shibello's possessed by Vilry's eye shadow, and now the spirit, he feels fine. He doesn't even know. He doesn't even know what's going on, but the spirit wants him to crawl back up into that tree sack and resume the work.
Alright, fine. I'll go. We can go west of here. I don't have
Okay.
to be north. We can meet back up here at the farmhouse in, I don't know, 2 days.
I mean, the danger is done. We can send them back to town. We can rest here and then move on. I agree we shouldn't go back to the ley line because that's just doing the job that the enemy wants.
Cut out.
Maybe we could take
Cut out
Shibello to the.
for everybody else.
Huh? Can people hear me? Am I good? We're
Yeah,
kind of
I can hear
monologue
you.
here, okay?
You're still
Can you hear
coming.
me?
Yeah.
Perhaps we should be taking Shibello to the Isle of Arnway. Maybe there's, master druids there who may be able to help with possession.
And that makes sense. And we were thinking of going there because of all of their knowledge and practices with ley lines, right?
Yeah, and this way we're not just straight giving the enemy what he wants, but also not twiddling our thumbs.
Are we so sure that Sonatron is safe? We didn't completely beat that creature again. It ran away. It disappeared. It's still out there at large. We're now knowing clearly Vilry wasn't the one in control of it. And so if that's going to be here and continue to wreak havoc on the people of Sonatron, we need to be here to protect them.
Yes. Although I do wonder, that thing, according to Vilry's corpse, if it's telling the truth at least, which I believe she was, that antler thing serves Torgir, goddamn, the Tojiro guy. What does he have to gain by attacking and killing the people of Sonatron? Or was it perhaps Vilry's own vengeful spirit poisoning the process?
Well,
I guess
will
I
say this.
don't know
When
for
we-
sure.
when- Well, I won't
Sorry, go
actually
ahead.
say I didn't notice. Well, I know Oleander and Virgil killed her, and it did not seem to care at all. So it was definitely
Yeah, and,
tied to Valerie in some way, but maybe not as deeply as we thought.
well, and when she says I served him, them, as far as we know, we met Tojiro when we were in the ley lines. When we were there, that group that was there, perhaps one of them was him. And I mean, the tune of those people was very much against the people of Taldor, including those of Sanatron, and an attitude of revenge for what they do to the forest and to the natural environment around them. So even if it's not directly related to Villery, I could see them wanting to terrorize the people of Sanatron for their sick view of revenge on these people.
It's fair. It's fair. Well, then, it sounds like the town remains potentially at risk without us there. The town is potentially at risk with Shibello there. Shibello is at risk without us with him, and our knowledge of the situation is at risk without Shibello with us. And so, I would propose...
There's a lot of risk, is what you're saying.
Yes, I would propose that because Shibello, because the town was like almost gonna get slaughtered anyway, if you do happen to slaughter them through the spirit, it's kind of like what was gonna happen anyway, right? So why don't we spend one day back in Sanatron, see what we can put in order in terms of affairs and the history books, if this Forsaken Town has anything other than the history of beats. And then after that day, we're all rested, good to go, nothing crazy's happened. Then we go for the Isle of Aaronway. But we stay together.
That seems like a fair plan to me. I think that as long as we can feel comfortable that, attacks have subsided on the people of Sanatron, then I'm more than happy to travel there and see what answers we can find. And I think that if we have Shibello with us, if anything were to happen with the spirits, hopefully we can intervene.
Perhaps he's like an alarm system as well. Maybe if that antlered elk thing is going to attack the town, Shibello will go, "Oh no, oh my head hurts, oh gosh, visions of elk skulls." Now, Shibello, I believe that we're all welcoming you still with us. How do you feel about spending 24 hours under careful supervision by the group here in Sanatron?
Very well. I'm not crazy about all this, but I won't fight you too much on it. Yeah.
All right.
Well, then it sounds like we're agreed.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Do you think it matters what we do with Villery's body from here, or should we collect ashes, spread them somewhere?
I've had enough of Villery. I could care less what we do with her body. Her
Sure.
presence on this earth has brought us nothing but confusion and pain and stress.
Oh, verily that is true. All right, well, I feel great, and
I mean, in a way, I can respect her motivations. Perhaps we can bury the remains.
If you guys want to dig a hole for her body, I guess we could sit here.
I mean, we could just also just burn her more and then scatter the ashes instead of digging. I hate digging. That sounds like a lot of work, honestly.
I want to respect
And
your value, but not that happy.
right, we don't know. That last question I had was gonna be like, what the fuck you want done? But we don't know. So either way, we're risking disrespecting her wishes. Either maybe burning's what she wanted, or burial, or perhaps to just rot. Some people donate their bodies to science, and the druids, I think, maybe even of Arnway, especially druids of the spores like Shibello, study the way that corpses decompose. So maybe she was an organ donor.
So
Either
as
way.
Eulogy says, maybe she was an organ donor. You turn around and you see that her body is essentially like a crispy carbon cake in the vague form of what would have used to be a humanoid body. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, excuse me for not having a doctorate of post death operations. Okay.
Wow, almost looks like maybe just kick her around a bit and she'll just split into some dust and blow away in the wind.
Oh, maybe that's what we should do then. All right, Eulogy is going to think about casting Gust right here, but then we'll say, oh, you know what? Let's walk around to the other side. He's going to see what happens when he casts Gust to scatter the ashes that are around, or fan the flames, whatever it does.
Okay. Okay, so so you do that. You said you cast Gust specifically?
Gust.
Okay. So you cast Gust, and as you do, quite a just about all of the loose limbs and extremities of this burnt to a crisp form. At this point it's just like a low fire sort of ember burning, and Eulogy, you let forth this magical gust, and it sort of fans the flames of some of the embers, but without much effect, as a good portion of the carbon dusty remains blow away in the wind. There's still there's still a sort of gory burning core in front of you, but yeah, at least her extremities are essentially blown away.
Right. This actually just ended up feeling more disrespectful. So, you know what? Why don't let's let nature do its thing from here?
That was my suggestion from the beginning.
All right. Well, at least you went out the way Regathiel would want you to, eh, Vilry? Wreathed in flame? Okay. Well, she can't laugh, but she would have, I think.
Jeez. Oh, how macabre. Okay. All right. So, then it sounds like everybody gathered around Virgil. What happens? So, Virgil, do you go ahead and cast your thing?
I do.
All right. So everyone sort of holding on to each other. Virgil lifts his family amulet and uses its recalling effect to teleport you all to the town center of Saint Etraine. The very center, in the middle of the night, where the townsfolk remain gathered in the center of town. There, the lights are not coming on for some reason, or maybe they are.
They're all hiding. Surprise!
It's odd. Yeah. Anyway, so you guys arrive back in the town center, and that's odd. The gathered townsfolk in the center of town are still there, right? There was sort of that small crowd of people that you had indicated to remain in the center of Sonatron. The few militia members that that had still been there, at least half of them, so maybe eight or so. You recall that much of the townsfolk were directed to evacuate south of the canal to the entrance to the cave that leads to Dead Willow. And yeah, so there you guys are, arriving back in the center of Sonatron. Casting your gaze around, the lot of you, you see that that all of you have arrived here in town, but when you guys look around, you do not see Shibello.
Shit. Well. And
There
he
weren't too
was
many of us, right?
touching-
He was unaffected by the teleportation magic.
There were not too many of you, no. As far as
That's
you know.
odd, because we were able to teleport Billiard.
Mm-hmm.
And he was touching, right? Like holding hands or whatever.
Let's think about this. As far as you know, yeah.
As we know. Cool. And how far away was that goddamn farm?
It was several miles north of town.
All right.
So, that thing might be in control of our friend's body, boys.
It would appear so. And
Well, perhaps we just leave people with instructions on how to handle the situation here and go back.
I think that makes sense. Yeah. And perhaps not exactly just go back, but maybe, I don't know, go to the heart of the woods, unless someone's particularly adept at tracking. But I would have left that to Shibello.
I suppose. What do we tell the people? Just strengthen numbers, stay in groups. What is the direction? I mean, these people aren't really
My
capable of
instructions
defending
before
themselves
had been
against
to
fighting.
remain in the town center for a couple days until there seems to be no danger, at which point they go back to their homes and just remain vigilant.
I guess, are there accommodations for them to just be there for days?
Yeah, I mean, everybody eats at the feed meal anyway.
I guess, but I'm talking like beds. I don't know.
There are certainly not enough accommodations at the feed mill for 300 people.
No, but they're also staying in the houses around the feed mill. We're just putting people in the most central parts of town.
Yeah,
okay.
It's not the center of town doesn't really have that sort of capacity, at least in that immediate area.
The people will deal with it for 48 hours.
That's something you can dictate, certainly.
Hey, this
Squish
guy's the
together.
boss.
I mean, or we could
You
just
can
tell
affect-
people the immediate threat is addressed, and people can go back home.
Is it addressed?
I don't know, but we can chase Shibello down and figure that out.
I personally agree with Virgil. I think a little bit of discomfort is worth the safety of as many people as possible in town. And if they murmur a little bit, we'll just guide them off with continued protection and favors later.
All right, that's fair. I guess
in that case, perhaps no update at all. We just tell these folks here to relay a little bit of what happened and say that we are still pursuing the creature to put a final end to it.
Yes.
All right. Then Eulogy will
Sounds
turn
good.
to the people that came along, and we'll say that to them.
Okay, so they'll say because they were standing right next to you as you guys just discussed this.
Yes.
They say, so you want us to tell everyone that it's okay even though it's not? Says Perry Hemsworth. Right, the two young girls, like still kind of just hugging each other.
We didn't say that we're to tell people that it's okay.
No, that's not what we're doing. That's not what you're doing.
Well, what words would you like these folks to say to the other folks?
So Perry steps forward and she says, "My lord, let me come with you. I can help."
Save.
It's best you stay here. And help Sir Lauren Krent. In fact, when you do find Sir Lauren Krent, tell him the instructions remain the same. I had already instructed him to keep people grouped up in the center of town. And after a couple of days, if there are no incidents, that people may resume their normal activities. We'll just stick to that plan.
Yes, my lord. I will do as you say.
Now head on over to the feed mill and see if there's any leftover food for you and the children.
There's some food left, says one of the guards, just sort of like looking on from, or the militia members looking on from a distance. Wouldn't have been in earshot of the rest of the conversation, but had been sort of wandering over in your direction. So, all right. So with them sort of shuffling off to go about their business there. What would you guys like to do in this moment?
I mean, sounds like we need to immediately head back to the farm. No time to waste if Shibello is being controlled. Who knows where he's headed now?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys immediately sort of jump to it and start scrambling up the road. The road that leads north out of town, just as you had come earlier on your way to the Pontius farm, you come again, walking the path up the road north, about 1.5 miles outside of town, and then turning left at the path heading off to the farm. You make your way through the crop fields and to the farmstead. Now, as you're approaching, there's this really interesting sight that you see, which is, at least all but Virgil, which is a great black sort of cloud, a great black cloud that laid sort of before you, seemingly encompassing the entire space where the farmstead had been when you left. Virgil, you see just a plain path and crop fields leading up to the farmstead. And so with the surety that that whatever illusions were cast upon this place before are all that persist, do you guys continue through the black mist? that you guys see, but Virgil doesn't?
Eulogy will call out and say, like, what is this? And he'll touch it. He'll, like, try to touch it, see if he feels anything.
Yeah, you reach out and you touch it, and there is... your hand just sort of flows through it.
Alright, is this an illusion like before?
Yeah, there's nothing there. Just like before. Just a normal path.
Oh, okay. Alright. Okay, that's good. That's encouraging. I will continue. Eulogy says out loud, more to himself than anyone else.
Okay. So Eulogy, you and your companions, all you see is a black mist before you. So it might be tough, to be able to like just navigate through. But if you'd like, you can spring headlong into it.
I guess Eulogy's gonna say, "I can't see anything." Virgil, are you able to see
a
like
conga line.
Conga line sounds pretty good.
Yeah, let's make a conga line with Virgil at the head, and he'll help us navigate through this black mist that apparently he can see straight through.
Yeah, sure. Let's hold hands and.
All right. So sure enough,
you hold hands. It's a conga line. I will grab your waist.
All right,
whatever makes you feel more comfortable, Ulfgar.
So you guys just sort of monkey chain it as you stride forward with Virgil as your guide, and sure enough, you go through this black mist, and after just maybe 20 feet, it's as though you walked through stone as you step forward into the self-same under tree chamber that you had just been in, I guess 30-ish minutes ago, and when you come through, you see the remains of Vilry sat out front in the yard or in front of the house. You see the two buildings. You do not see Shibello.
Sure.
I suppose Ulfgar will start calling out, Shibello! Shibello!
All right. So Ulfgar starts calling out for his friend Shibello, and your cries are met with silence. Nothing but the pitter-patter of rain all around you and the sound of the wind howling all around.
Eulogy will try to look for some kind of tracks.
Okay, you look for tracks in the mud. Go ahead and roll a survival check for me. Okay.
It might be best to have Virgil look for tracks if he can see through the illusion.
Virgil, look for tracks.
Yeah, so you look
for heavy elephant feet. I look for elephant footsteps in this very wet dirt.
Yep. Go ahead and roll your survival check to track.
Justify why he has advantage, Bruce.
He doesn't need advantage. The DC is not high, so. 18. All right. So with a 17 result, Virgil, you look around. You remember exactly where your friend was standing when you all were huddled up, and so you sort of go over and you see all the footprints in the mud of of each of the companions, and you find exactly where those elephant feet, his wide sturdy feet were planted in the mud, and you see that a few footsteps trail off away from where the group had gathered, and they sort of circle around and in an easterly direction, but they only proceed that way for about 15 feet before they disappear. And it's not that they trail off, right? You see the distinct footprints in the mud until you don't. The trail just stops.
Does it look like maybe he moved his feet at any point to mount his broom? Like, can I get a sense of that? Any weird kind of the way the mud might be smushed, or like he got on one foot and...
Shit, yeah, I forgot about the broom. Wow.
You see, so where the trail ends, you see the imprint of his 2 feet next to each other. And I guess based on how you're kind of trying to discern one or the other, you notice that the left footprint is maybe slightly more depressed, but it's tough to tell.
He may have flown away. Perhaps he's on his way to the ley line. I look into the sky for any sign of a big fat elephant on a broom.
Whoa. I'm very slender.
Okay, so Virgil, you cast your gaze up. Go ahead and roll a perception check.
His skin is supposed to mimic the night sky, and we're looking for him flying in the night sky.
Yeah, you look up, and the pouring rain surrounding you, the combination of that and the darkness all around you frantically look about, and just peeking through the clouds, as you do, you see the moon. The moon peeks through for a split second, and you could swear that you see a speck against the radiant backdrop of the moonlight. And just as soon as you notice it, the clouds pass by again, and any sight you might have had is gone. And I think that's where we're going to call it for today's session.
Okay, cool. Everything is going according to plan.
Dun, dun, dun.
Everything's going
Imminent danger of our friend.
Bella, you going on a trip or something? We're gonna not have you next session? What's going on?
It's all your fault, Shibello. You shouldn't have just stood there and tried to reason with the man. You should have either tried to attack him or run away like the rest of us.
What stinks about it is, like, I have a +9 to my wisdom modifier.
Right, you got a pretty decent roll with that +9, but goddamn.
Like, if I just rolled like a, I don't know, 10, I don't know what the DC was, but I had a good chance.
The DC was probably 1 plus Shibello's roll.
No. There's always set DCs. Always.
Hey, I'm fine with manipulation if you feel it in the best spirit for the things happening. But yeah, just had to come to the session.
Showed up right in time.
Yeah, right in time. Awesome. Well, yeah, I think that'll conclude tonight's session broadcast. So, thank you. Go ahead and call it. Here we go. All right. Well, whew. It's tough for me too. Yeah. Yeah, there was. It's chat. This is all chat's fault. No. Oh man. Shibello, if you could stay on with me for a minute, that'd be good. I mean, you don't have to, but I'm gonna pull Shibello into a completely separate thing, so. Yes, so lame. Okay, maybe we can just stay here. Yeah, we can just stay here. Okay, so, I mean, do you wanna do any continuation immediately, or do you want to catch up maybe sometime this week or something like that? Okay. So you fly off, and yeah, as you rise up through the clouds, you feel the pitter patter of the rain droplets hitting your face, and you fly off to the east, and you don't have to fly too terribly far, honestly, to arrive at a place where you're getting a few miles out, and to find a clearing, right? You're sort of flying over the Tandak Plains, right? The northern Tandak Plains, where there's maybe stands of woods here and there that block the landscape, but a lot of just rolling plains. So you can pick basically anywhere you want to come down, and you do. And then you said you wanted to call to Raj and wait for him. Okay. All right. So you call. It is the middle of the night. You call, and you're gonna find yourself waiting for quite some time. So you're free to maybe take a long rest if you should like to do so, or maybe you want to try to stay awake. Okay. So Shibello, you decide to take a rest, catch some sleep. You maybe found yourself a little spot next to a rock, an outcropping of rock that you can sort of take shelter under to get cover from the rain. Otherwise, your cloak is pretty good anyway. And you nod off. And when you nod off, you have a dream. That dream finds you in a dark chamber. A dark chamber where you perceive, as though through the eyes of another person. And the reason you perceive that you are not yourself in this dream is that you look down at your hands and you find yourself sort of toiling over some table, a workman's bench of very fine and intricate creation, black steel metal benchwork, atop which there stand a number of jars and vials and tools and instruments that the like of which you have never seen, you notice that the hands that stretch out from your first-person view are long, emaciated, sort of purplish blue skin, and there's the sort of hands end in these long, dexterous digits, and they seem to be sort of, toiling away at something, and you hear the muttering voice that you recognize belonging to the self-same individual that you had just been speaking with, but it's muttering to itself in a language you don't understand. That sort of, parcel tongue-esque. And it seems to continue sort of muttering to itself as it does, and you see it sort of takes these two black iron pieces and touches them together, these devices, touches them together, and there's a magical spark of sort of reddish and green flames that sort of emit out, and you see, or you hear the individuals sort of in almost sort of like a cursing tone, right? Like there's a frustration in their voice, and they set the pieces down, and you see something directly in front of the individual's perspective is a shard of wood. A shard of wood, sharp, long. Amidst all the things on this workbench, it sticks out because it has this, almost like this aura of brilliance to it. But it's faint. It's flickering. And once again, from the first person, you see these long, nimble hands reach for a pair of tongs, and they use the tongs to collect up that shard of wood, and then they take another device from the tabletop, and they ever so carefully touch the two together. And when they do, there is an eruption of explosive force and fire that just throws. You see sort of like the hands open up wide, and they fling everything loose as they're propelled backward away from the workbench and sort of clatter to the ground. And looking up, you see the workbench itself has been sort of, half destroyed where the perspective had stood just a moment before. Sort of, embers still sort of, flickering here and there, and and you hear the voice once again. And it laughs this very pleased and sinister laugh. There was one shard of wood and another device. The other device was this It was like a stone. I don't want to say gemstone. It wasn't really a gemstone, but it was a translucent stone. It had sort of a blackish and reddish, translucent hue to it, and yeah. So when they touched these things together, right, this intense explosion, and you know, sort of with this wider POV away from the workbench, you see that this chamber is quite a large one. There's this long array of workshop and workbench, sort of wrapping around what must be a 60-foot diameter workroom with shelves that extend and all, you know, upward and all around, and with all manner of jar and ingredient and you know, hanging horrible instruments of the design of which you could not even fathom their purpose, but they all have this, you know, there's this distinct kind of sinister vibe that you get about the whole thing, and after a few moments of just sort of, you know, laughing maniacally, from the left-hand side of the field of vision, you see that there's a set of stairs that descend down into this workshop room, and out of the corner of your eye, you see an individual walk in, wearing very fine, dark gray clothing. There are, I should say, the room has some lights. Aside from the, like, trailing embers of the fiery explosion, there are some torch lights that glow with this, like, blue. Some are blue. Actually, no, all of them are blue. All of the sort of torch lights are blue, and they flicker. And so in the blue torch light, the gray of this individual's tunic kind of takes on a bluish hue, but they're sort of trimmed in silver, and the style of this clothes. Roll a religion check or a history check, whichever you prefer. Okay, that's not great. Yeah. Okay, so you look at the, you sort of, you know, take in the sight of this individual, at least their clothing, and there seems to be the clothes are in a style that you have only seen on statues. The statues from back home in Corvosa. And once, actually, you went to visit Magnamar, and you saw a statue there as well, a sort of broken statue with this style of garb. But exactly what it was and, you know, who, you don't know, right? And anyway, this individual, the actual individual is a gaunt-looking, pale-skinned, white-haired woman. She has red in her eyes, and rather than whites around her pupils, she has black. And she cuts a rather fine figure, and she steps down, and in, once again, that language that you don't understand, she says something to you, your whoever's perspective you're inhabiting, and the cackling continues, the sort of maniacal. Right? It's almost as though this individual is so consumed by self-aggrandizing, kind of, what's the term? Arrogance, right? Or self. What's the term when you're just like so pleased with themselves, right? That they couldn't be bothered to really even regard whoever it is that just came in. And that's where you startle awake. And you're startled awake by a hand on your shoulder. The hand of Durrani once on. He shakes you and says, Shibello, what are you doing out here? Sleeping under a rock like a vagabond. See it in you. What do you mean? One moment. And so he sits down he takes cover under the rock next to you. He pulls out a book, a tome, from his side satchel, and he begins to scan the tome. And every so often he looks up at you, and then eventually he flips to a page and he sort of seems like, oh, here it is. Right, he kind of has that vibe, and he begins to. He takes maybe 6 minutes to review something, and then he looks up at you and he says, "Don't move," and he begins to sort of circle his hand around in this sort of flowing motion as he speaks an incantation in what you recognize to be the Elvish tongue, and as he does so, after I don't know, 6 seconds of him doing this, his eyes shoot wide open, and he quickly closes the book, and even kind of like startles back away, and he like bumps his head on the rock. And he reaches behind to grasp his head as he reels from the shock of the pain, and he looks up at you and he says, "Shibello, what have you done?" He visibly, so the if you recall, he has kind of like paint on his face that he normally wears, and the paint it normally sort of like shimmers in its color and hue, right? And it turns to a deep black all along his face, and he says, "You said Tojiro?" Shibello, I told you not to go into the Blight. I told you not to try and stop the Blight. What did you do? What did you do with her? Oh my god. Oh my gods. He sort of like freezes up, and you see, I mean, his pupils are already pretty big in his eyes, and so you know he doesn't have much white around his eyes to like betray much of what his eyes are doing, but you see in almost a frantic manner his eyes begin to dart back and forth as he seems to be sort of like thinking furiously, and he takes that book that he had out, he sets it into his satchel, and he says, Shibello, I am so sorry. And he gives this bow in your direction, and he says, my lord, please do not slay him. I will return you back to where you're meant to be. Lord, take me as your vessel. Leave him, spare him, please. And Shibello, you feel your mouth move as you say, in a different voice, you worm, Daraj. You and Trujillo very nearly failed me. This will not be forgotten. You will deal with this husk! Yes, my lord. I will deal with it. Very well. And Shibello, you feel something welling up inside of your stomach, and you begin to choke on it. And the shadow begins to sort of vomit forth from your mouth, and just sort of wash over Daraj. And you see he sort of, half prostrating himself before you. The wave of shadow washes over him, and after a moment, you very much feel like you've got your senses back about you, and Daraj looks up at you. He says, oh, go ahead, yeah. Shibello, there are grand workings of the world that I cannot begin to explain to you. Not yet. Maybe in time we will speak of this again. But for now, you will go back to sleep. And he's going to require a wisdom saving throw from you. Yeah, let's see. Okay, Shibello, your wisdom saving throw is really good. Didn't land so well this time, though. You got a 15 against his spell save DC. Okay. So yeah, you got a 15 on your result, meaning that. Okay, so he needs to roll 5. It's what, D8s? Okay. 5. I just need to roll something to see if you do fall asleep. Okay, you do. Okay. So Shibello, you. I know. You feel this like wave of. I mean, you just woke up, but it's like you hadn't slept a wink, and you boom, your back falls against the soggy ground, still underneath the rock. And although Shibello would only sort of he's falling out of consciousness, and he sees Diraj walk over him, and just touch him on the forehead. And as your eyes are sort of rolling back in your head to fall asleep, you see Diraj pull his hand up away from your head, and you see a sliver of wispy white essence emerge forth as though he was pulling something out of your mind. As he casts Modify Memory on you. And so to the, whenever you wake up, you will remember having a conversation with him in which he told you that there was no essence present with you, that whatever spirit you might have encountered surely detached itself from you while you were asleep. And as far as he can see, your aura is clear. There is no lingering spirit to be had, and he's just confused as to what this might have been. Would there be anything that you might ask him in that scenario? Okay. Well, he can't modify your memory to that because he doesn't know you have the mushrooms. So I like that. Okay. So you know, he modifies your memory such that you feel reassured. You will recall feeling confident in his assessment that he cast. Some power. You recognize him as a fairly powerful spellcaster. So if he says that you're fine, you must be fine. At least that's what you remember feeling. All right. So what do you think? There is. You ain't no dummy, Matt. Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, it's gonna take some role playing bones on your part to move forward, but fair enough. Fair enough, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to see if there's